Ah, but happiness, what a peculiar thing it is, especially for the avoidant. It is not the conventional joy that others seek, the warmth of constant connection, the predictable embrace of intimacy. No, the happiness of an avoidant is a paradox, an enigma, an artful dance between craving love and keeping it at bay. And that is precisely what we will explore today. The weird things avoidants need to be happy. You see, for most people, happiness in a relationship follows a familiar script: love, closeness, reassurance, and the comfort of knowing that someone is always there. But for the avoidant? No, no, no. Their script is different, entirely rewritten, restructured, and to the untrained eye, seemingly upside down. What they need to feel safe, content, and at peace in love is not what you would expect. It is counterintuitive. It defies every natural instinct that most people have about love. And yet, once you understand these peculiar needs, everything changes. The mixed signals, the pullbacks, the unexplained silence, it all starts to make sense. And instead of fighting against it, you begin to see the pattern, the method in their madness. So let us begin, shall we? The sixth love language: distance. In 1992, Dr. Gary Chapman introduced the world to the 5 love languages: words of affirmation, physical touch, quality time, acts of service, and receiving gifts. Each person, he proposed, had a preferred way of giving and receiving love. But he left one out. Because avoidance? Oh, they have a 6th love language, and it is the strangest one of them all: distance. Yes, distance. The very thing that most people interpret as a sign of disinterest, rejection, or even betrayal is, for an avoidant, a necessity, a comfort, a silent reassurance that they are not being consumed by the relationship, not being swallowed whole by someone else's emotional needs. Imagine for a moment, you are in a relationship with an avoidant. They tell you their love language is quality time or physical touch. So you oblige. You plan weekends together, sit close during movies, offer reassuring touches. You think, finally, I'm doing it right. But something always feels off, doesn't it? No matter how much effort you put in, they never fully relax. There's always a distance, an invisible barrier you can't quite penetrate. And that is because their real love language is not quality time. It is the space between the moments of closeness, the ability to retreat, to breathe, to be alone without feeling pressured to explain why. A peculiar thing, isn't it? To need solitude in order to feel secure in love. But such is the world of the avoidant. The invisible fence theory. Picture a small dog, a fearless little creature, energetic, spirited, and yet it never quite crosses the boundary of its yard. Why? Because it has learned. It has been trained. An invisible fence. It cannot be seen, but the dog knows it is there. If it strays too far, a sharp jolt will remind it to stay within the limits. Now, what if I told you that avoidance set up the same invisible fences in relationships? Not physically, of course. No collars, no electric shocks. But emotionally, oh, it is very much the same. They give you just enough space to feel free, but the moment you move too close, too deep, too emotional, too demanding, zap. A sudden retreat, a cold silence, a withdrawal that leaves you confused, wondering what you did wrong. But you see, it is not about you. It is about the fence, the boundary, the space they need to feel safe. They do not want you to leave. No, no, they want you there, but at a distance. Present but not intrusive. Close, but not consuming. It is a delicate balance, and if you understand it, you understand them. Ah, now we come to perhaps the strangest, most baffling pattern of them all, the dance of explore and exploit. It is a concept rooted in machine learning, but it applies eerily well to the behavior of avoidance in relationships. Let me explain. There are two modes in this dynamic. Explore. The avoidant feels drawn to connection. They initiate closeness. They engage. They make you believe they are finally opening up. It feels promising, doesn't it? Like a breakthrough, like progress. Exploit. But then, just as quickly, the shift happens. The discomfort creeps in. They begin to feel trapped, and so they retreat, back to their default strategy of emotional distance. They pull away. They become cold, unresponsive. This cycle repeats over and over. Each time you think you've cracked the code, each time you believe you've won them over, they reset. They retreat, and you are left wondering what happened. They are not doing it to hurt you. They are doing it because it is how they are wired, because prolonged closeness triggers something deep within them, something instinctive, something that tells them to run. And the cruel irony? It is the distance that keeps them feeling safe enough to stay. Now the question is not how to change them. The question is, how do you navigate this without being caught in the storm? Because make no mistake, if you chase them, if you try to convince them to stay close, you will only reinforce their need to retreat. So what do? You mirror their distance, not as a game, not as manipulation, but as a genuine shift in your own mindset. You learn to enjoy your own space. You create your own life, your own happiness, without depending on their presence. Because here's the secret. Avoidants regret losing people who don't chase them. The moment you stop fighting for their attention, the moment you stop proving your love, they are left with a peculiar feeling. Cognitive dissonance. They expect the chase. They expect the anxiety, the pursuit, the desperate attempts to pull them back. But when it doesn't happen, when you simply let them be, it unsettles them. It makes them question. It forces them to reflect. And sometimes, just sometimes, it makes them come back. Avoidants are not broken. They are not cruel. They are not incapable of love. But they love differently. Their needs are different. And if you understand those needs, you stop taking their distance personally. They need space. They need freedom. They need the paradox of closeness that does not feel suffocating. But here is the ultimate truth. You, too, deserve love that feels safe, steady, and fulfilling. So ask yourself, not how to keep an avoidant happy, but how to keep yourself happy in the process. Because the right person for you will not just need space, they will also need you. And that, my dear listener, is the real key to lasting connection.
If you believe this video might help someone dear to you, share it with them. A small gesture on your part could mean the world to a friend in need.